Welcome to Snoozy Worthy, a podcast by Parenting Practice of Colorado, your window into the world of pediatric sleep, where we explore the science behind sweet dreams, effective sleep teaching techniques, and all the intriguing nuances of your child's slumber. I'm your host, Lindsay Birchfield.
And I'm Paige Legault. Together, we're here to guide you through the labyrinth of parenting, offering insights, strategies, and science-backed advice to make parenting during those early childhood years not just manageable, but truly memorable.
As pediatric sleep specialists, we've seen the transformational power of sleep in countless families.
And because parenting is a journey, we won't stop at sleep. We'll provide you with valuable parenting tips for every aspect of early childhood, from managing tantrums to fostering creativity and hitting those all-important milestones.
So whether you're a seasoned parent in need of a sleep overhaul or a new parent preparing for the joys and challenges of early childhood, Snoozy Worthy is your trusted resource. Join us as we unravel the science of sleep, share practical advice, and make parenting truly snooze worthy.
Snoozy Worthy, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of pediatric sleep and help you and your little ones get the rest that you deserve. I'm Paige Legault, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Lindsay Birchfield. Today, we're exploring the science of pediatric sleep, uncovering the mysteries behind healthy sleep patterns for your children.
Yeah, that's right, Paige. Good to see you. Sleep is so crucial for children's growth, right? And development and just their overall well-being. So let's just start by talking and taking a closer look at pediatric sleep patterns and actually why establishing healthy sleep habits is so important.
Yep, you nailed it. And pediatric sleep patterns evolve as children grow, with newborns spending most of their time asleep and gradually transitioning to more consolidated nighttime sleep as they mature. Thank goodness. It's fascinating how these patterns change over time.
Yeah, totally. But along with these changes actually come common sleep issues that parents often face, such as that dreaded bedtime resistance, all of those night wakings, and then those early risers. But understanding the science behind all of this can really help you understand how they impact a child's sleep and can ultimately, you as a parent, help you navigate the challenges just a bit more effectively.
Absolutely. Sleep cycles play a crucial role in determining that quality and that duration of sleep. From REM to non-REM, each stage serves as a unique purpose in promoting restorative sleep and supporting healthy development.
Yeah, and then let's not also forget about those hormones that play into the process. They help to regulate sleep and wakefulness, and those hormones are known as melatonin and cortisol. I'm sure you have heard about those, especially now there's a lot of buzz around melatonin. Melatonin is often referred to as that sleep hormone, and it actually helps to signal the body that it's time to wind down and to prepare for sleep. Cortisol, on the other hand, is what helps to promote that alertness and the wakefulness during the day.
hmm And a little bit of a deeper dive on these hormones. I think sometimes that people perceive them as, an on-off light switch. Like as soon as the melatonin goes on, you're going to go to sleep immediately. And as soon as that cortisol goes on, you're up for the day. And it just doesn't work like that. So let's go to our evening times when you're home with your family, your kids, you're starting to have dinner, and then 20 minutes after you eat dinner and the sun's starting to go down a little bit and things are starting to slow down in the home, that's when that melatonin is going to turn on. And then it's going to slowly build as the night progresses, and then it will peak and then it will taper off, right? So once it peaks, it's not going to produce anymore. It's just going to use up what's already in the body system. And that can be anywhere between 3 and 4 a.m. And then on the other side of that coin, that cortisol is going to turn on, right? It's got a job to do as well. We physically have to have cortisol pumping to get up out of bed. You wouldn't be able to do it if we didn't have cortisol, which is wild to think about not being able to get out of your bed. But they're both so critical in what we need them to do. And so a lot of times we'll hear our clients talk about an early morning wake up sometime between 3 and 6 a.m. Those little ones are awake, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to rock and start the day, right? But you are feeling groggy, disoriented, irritable, maybe pissed off, as I would be if I was being woken up at that point, right? And so you have to remember that that type of wake up is hormonal, and you are either going to feed the melatonin or you're going to feed the cortisol with your actions. So if you have a little one who is doing that type of wake up and you're just starting the day at 4:35 a.m., you are setting that circadian rhythm to always turn that melatonin off and to turn that cortisol on at that period and for that child to wake up during the day. So if that's not your goal, please stop.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to walk you through how to get to that point of stopping. We've got a fun case study we're going to go through today.
Mhm.
But ultimately, if you want the child to go back to sleep, you've got to feed that melatonin and not that cortisol.
Exactly, because that is what helps to set the circadian rhythm. And the circadian rhythm is also known as our body's internal clock. I'm sure you've all have heard about that. And it just plays such a significant role in regulating that sleep wake cycle. So it's very important that we have exposure to light, particularly natural light, during those morning hours when we want to be up and getting up for the day, right? Because that just helps to synchronize our circadian rhythm and promote healthy sleep patterns. And on the other side of the coin, if as you're getting closer and ready for bed, that's when you want things to be not as light, darker, quieter, all of those things to help then produce the more melatonin. So it really is very important that we have an understanding of our circadian rhythm so that we can help it to be set for when we want to go to sleep and when we wake up. So again, we're not waking up at 4:30 and being ready to go.
Mhm.
And it's just really so important to understand these hormonal and or circadian influences because it can really help parents to establish those effective sleep routines, right? If you know that getting your child up at 4 and cutting them out of their room is actually going to long term make that the time that they wake because we're setting their circadian rhythm there, it's probably going to change the way that you're handling that early morning wake up. And because of that, it can really help you as a parent to promote healthy sleep habits from a very early age.
Mhm. You're right. Yeah. So let's get into that case study. So this is one of our past clients. Her name was Katie, and she was 10 months old when she worked with us here at Parenting Practice. And she was relying on a couple of props, and she was experiencing that dreaded early morning wake up and just all around fighting sleep. She wasn't a great napper. She wasn't a great, she didn't have the ability to fall asleep independently, and she didn't have the ability to help get back into the next sleep cycle when she did wake up. So she was relying on feeding and rocking to fall asleep for naps, nights, overnight wake ups, and then she was also starting her day at 4:30 in the morning and getting up and then napping. I mean, she was napping at 7 a.m., which is so confusing for that little
So
body, that
confusing. Yeah.
circadian rhythm's like, is this night or is this day?
I don't know.
And right. And then because she was waking so early and taking naps so early, she was exceeding her daytime sleep limit,
Mhm.
right? And then she was also exceeding the number of naps that she should be on at this age range. 4 naps at 10 months old, yes, it's a band aid when we need it, but is it proper for best healthy sleep habits? No, ma'am.
Yep.
Nope. So, what we did when we met this lovely family is we had them do our one on one baby program, which is 2 weeks in duration. And how it works is it starts with a questionnaire. Her family filled that out. We took that and we made Katie her sleep plan. And so we really wanted to highlight those props and get them out of there, those sleep props. And then we also wanted to get her on that proper schedule, 2 naps a day with a 3 hour wake window. And most importantly, give her the safety security she needed to fall asleep, stay asleep, or connect back into a sleep cycle without support. And when she did need support, we wanted to make sure that it was developmentally appropriate for her
Mhm.
and it felt comfortable for her family, right? Like
Right.
there's several factors of picking a program for sleep training and those are our big ones. So when we got into it and they first started training Katie, night 1, 2, and 3 were very typical. Lindsay and I see this all the time. Everyone on our team sees this all the time. Is those first 3 nights are confusing. They feel weird.
They are.
They're
Mhm.
uncomfortable. There's crying. There should be. I want your baby to tell us what they like and what they don't like so we can
Yeah.
meet them where they are and then fix things up and get more sleep, less crying, right?
Yep.
And then from there, Katie started sleeping through the night on day 4. Straight through, a full 12 hours. And she'd never done that in her life. And she was 10
Mhm.
months old. Like,
Amazing.
what?
So great.
Incredible. For her to go past that 4:30 a.m. mark, mom kept checking that monitor. She even went in one time just to double check on her, right? Are
Right.
you okay? And she was snoozing away, guys. And so what we did in this program is we updated that schedule. So we
Yep.
immediately pushed her to a 3-hour wake window. We eliminated those cat naps going on, and we had that sleep pressure build up. Number two, we did not allow the day to start before 6:30 a.m. Anything between bedtime and 6:30 a.m. was considered a nighttime wake up, and we had a plan set in place
Yep.
to go and support, love, care for, and watch if needed, right? And then the other thing that we worked really hard on was pulling those props, which means that we have to put something else in place there until the child is able to start that soothing independently.
Mhm.
And so what that looked like is we had dad go in night 1, 2, and 3 and sit and support Katie as she needed based on her level of cry. So we used our
Yep.
handy dandy cry scale here, and we gave dad a couple of different support options within the voice and the touch category. And we talked a lot about what we were hoping to see out of Katie, right? We wanted relaxed body positioning. We
Yeah.
wanted low level cry, if anything at all. And we wanted to see some soothing markers, right? The humming, yeah, a lot of people call it whining, but it's soothing. And we wanted to see some rhythmic body motion,
Yep.
right? So rubbing eyes, shaking of that head, whale tailing those legs up and down, maybe the running man kicking back and
Yep.
forth.
That's sucking on that thumb or hand. Yep.
Maybe holding dad's hand close to her. Any of that was wonderful. And so night number one, it took Katie about 45 minutes to actually fall into sleep. And then night number two, it took her around 40 minutes. And then night number three, she was down within 25 minutes, which is just,
Huge.
I mean, huge.
Great progress and so
Yeah,
fast.
so
Yeah.
fast. And he really was able to find what Katie preferred versus I'm just going to rock you till you pass out, or I'm going to feed you until you fall asleep, and then I'm going
Mhm.
to try the transfer. She was in her crib,
Yep.
she was safe, she was comfortable, and she liked the support that dad gave her, and it helped her to soothe into sleep, right?
Yep.
And so that's how we helped Katie with all of this. But let's break down a little bit more, Lindsay, if you will. What is that behavioral insomnia?
Yeah. So when you have a child that is, struggling to fall asleep at night, waking up a lot, having that early mornings, we oftentimes will call that behavioral insomnia if all of that isn't related to a medical condition. So I think it's important to just know what behavioral insomnia is. And what it is it refers to difficulties, like I said, falling asleep and staying asleep. And they're often influenced by actually learned behaviors and habits rather than any kind of medical issue, right? And this type of insomnia can manifest in various forms. So it can be that bedtime resistance, that long onset it takes for the child to fall asleep, all those frequent night wakings, or those early mornings.
And one other factor that can contribute to that behavioral insomnia in children is that use of those props or those external
Exactly.
aids. Just like in our case study with baby Katie, that is what she was dealing with. So those could be rocking or any sort of motion, feeding, again, doesn't matter how we feed, using pacifiers, or even taking that kiddo into the car and driving them around,
Mhm.
right? We've all heard those stories, or we've been that mom driving that car around, begging that little one to fall asleep. And while these
Yep.
props may initially help that child to fall asleep
Right.
more easily, they can create that dependency and disrupt that natural sleep wake cycle over time. And when children rely on those props to initiate sleep, they may struggle to fall back asleep when naturally woken during the night, leading to frequent night wakings and fragmented sleep, and always seeking out that prop. And then the use of props can also contribute to those bedtime resistance, just like Lindsay said. As children become resistant to sleep, unless their preferred prop is present, they can
Right.
resist in bedtime battles and prolonged sleep onset latency, making it just so challenging for both children and parents to establish that consistent
Right.
bedtime routine. And
Yep.
that's where you really can mess up, if you will, or inhibit those proper hormones, melatonin and cortisol, to produce when they should, based on environmental cues, lighting, sound, temperature,
Yep.
movement, food, and then ultimately affecting that circadian rhythm. And I think the other thing here that's really important to remember that we talk to our clients about all the time is A disrupted night or day of sleep will affect the next 24 hours.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that means if your child's daytime sleep wasn't met, that night is affected plus nap tomorrow. And I think that's where things can get really messy. And I think, Lindsay, you would agree with me, is it becomes like a runaway train very, very
100%.
quickly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. You
And
can't get ahead of it.
additionally, yeah, you can't get ahead of it. Additionally, dependence on props for sleep can contribute to those early morning wake ups, just like in baby Katie's case. As children may awaken during the night and struggle to fall asleep without their preferred sleep aid, they can disrupt that overall sleep duration and quality,
Mhm.
leading to daytime sleepiness, irritability, difficulty concentrating, can get real messy.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody likes an overchild or overtired child or being overtired themselves, right? That's so difficult
Mhm.
to handle. And so, to address the behavioral insomnia that we're talking about and really reduce the reliance on the sleep props, it's really essential for parents to establish those healthy sleep habits and those routines. And this can include, right, creating a consistent bedtime routine. We will talk about bedtime routines. You probably have heard us talk about them all the time. It's one of our favorite things. You can do it from day one and you can do it all the way to the till you're in old age. So wonderful thing. So creating that consistent bedtime routine and then providing a conducive sleep environment. The environment in which your child sleeps can make a huge difference, right? If we have a nice, cool, quiet, dark space for your child versus a warm, loud, light space, that is going to make definitely a difference. And then, of course, helping them promote those self soothing skills. I always say that is just right there, the golden ticket, those self-soothing skills and falling asleep independently. And you can do this in various different ways, right? To help to encourage them here at Parenting Practice. We have our wonderful, gentle, child-led method, where as you mentioned in Katie's case, right, and all of our clients' cases, we're there to support them in learning this new skill, but ultimately we are helping to encourage them to learn the self-soothing skills to fall asleep independently. And really, this is that golden ticket to help their child and help parents teach their children how to develop healthy sleep habits and to truly overcome that behavioral insomnia. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think also another important part too is understanding how behavioral insomnia can be influenced by anxiety, stress, and inconsistency around sleep. It's crazy how much we see parental stress and anxiety play into children's sleep situations and issues and challenges. And so when we can get a sense of what kind of stress or anxiety we might have going on around sleep, which of course, when you're sleep deprived, it's natural to have more of that going on, we can really help the parents and the child to overcome that. And one of the best ways to overcome it, we believe, right, is to work with a pediatric sleep specialist like ourselves. We can really help understand your story and meet you where you're at. And of course, always talk to your pediatrician so that they can help provide guidance and support. And if they feel like it could be more than behavioral insomnia and something that's medical in nature, they could also really help with that as well. So, all of these things are just a wonderful way to help to overcome behavioral insomnia and get your child sleeping better so you can sleep better too.
And just truly understanding that nighttime wake ups are a thing, but they don't have to
Yeah,
be at night, right? Just because we wake up between sleep cycles
absolutely.
doesn't mean
Yeah,
we're a poor sleeper or we have sleep debt or anything like that. But chronic nighttime wake ups where they're not easily soothed down and stay down for a full sleep cycle, that's a bit of
right.
an issue, right?
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us on this episode of Snooze Worthy. We hope you found our exploration of pediatric sleep informative and helpful.